welcome to the Creative Homeschool Podcast. In this podcast, I'm coming at you to deliver you a weekly dash of creativity to make your homeschool exciting for your kids, but for you too. We're going to explore all of the different ways to creatively homeschool: games, field trips, unit studies, writing activities, kid businesses, art, and more. I'm your host, Julie Soul, longtime homeschool mom, shenanigan enthusiast, espresso drinker, and founder and co-owner of Soul Sparklets Art. I've helped thousands add creativity and joy to their homeschool, and I'm ready to help you too. Ready to get started? Let's go. Welcome back to the Creative Homeschool Podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest who is Brooke Langston-DeMott, and she is creating the most amazing secular conference that I have seen called SHAPE, which is, pun intended, shaping up to be one of the most incredible secular conferences, I think. And I cannot wait to see it come to life in July. And I think this is just kind of the beginning. Now, Brooke's a mom to 3 kids, 7, 4.5, and 18 months. She's been homeschooling from the beginning. A huge welcome to you, Brooke. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Julie.
So before we get into the upcoming conference and we talk about conferences, and for those of you listening, we're going to talk about not just what's coming up for this particular conference, but some of the choices that Brooke's made, because I want you to know what's possible. So even if this conference is too far for you to attend, I think that you're going to walk away with so much information about what's out there. And if something isn't out there, what can you create with just a little bit of gung-ho? So, but first I want to talk about your own homeschooling journey. So how did you get started? What made you decide that homeschooling was the perfect fit?
So, I was an elementary school teacher for 7 years. And then I went back and got a graduate degree in teacher education, and I taught at the university level for about 5 years. And then I had my daughter, and I felt like I knew too much of the inside of public school. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of that as a resource for people who need it. And I absolutely understand that homeschooling is a privilege. But we were in a position that I was able to homeschool. And when my daughter was about 2, I started thinking, what kind of path do we want for her? Where are we going to put her in school? And my husband's like, why are you thinking about this? She's 2. And I'm like, because the next 3 years are going to go by so quickly. And a huge part of it was I really wanted the time with my daughter. And now I have 3. So I want that time with them. I want the flexibility. And I was really worried about kindergarten kind of, squashing her creativity at the thought of her being in a classroom sitting, for 7-8 hours a day. And, we actually, before I debated this all the way up until August when she was supposed to start kindergarten. And I went to the neighborhood school that she would have gone to. We went to the kindergarten orientation and brought her along. And they separated the parents and the kiddos. And, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all this stuff. And the principal is there with all the kindergarten teachers. And she asked the kindergarten teachers, what is the most important thing that you feel the parent should walk away with and understand about kindergarten? And they all said sight words. Sight words are the most important thing that you're gonna do to help your kid this school year. So just make sure you practice those sight words. And that really hit solidified that nail in the coffin for me. Like, this is not for us. Like, that is not what I want for my kid. And then we toured the classrooms, and there's no toys, there's no play kitchen, there's desks and a rug for more like a morning meeting area and a little library. But I'm like, there's no toys here. I don't know. I felt after that orientation, it just really solidified for me, like, this is not the path for us. And so I said, I'm going to take this a year at a time. And we got through kindergarten, and and now here we are almost at the end of first grade, and it's definitely, it has its challenges, but it definitely has been.
As we were talking about a moment ago before I hit record,
Yes.
sometimes kids have moments.
Yes.
And sometimes when they have moments, we need to remember that we too might also have moments, but
Yes.
it's so normal. And kindergarten, I know when I was younger, was half day, and it was all
Yes.
day, and it has changed
Yeah.
a lot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I felt really, I felt a little of this kind of, I don't know, I almost felt like it was blasphemous for me as a former teacher and then teacher educator to not take that path. And I felt like the people who were in my professional circle in particular, really didn't understand the choice I was making. And that was a little bit, I don't know if scary is the right word, but it felt a little uncomfortable, kind of getting a little bit of pushback or feeling a little judged for making that call. But just seeing how much my daughter has thrived in the community we found, and I'm regularly reminded that this is the absolute best choice we could have made.
I have heard that teachers are one of the the fastest growing group of homeschooling parents out there, which can draw many conclusions from that. But you said that she's thriving in her community. So as a homeschooler, how did you find your community? Has it been easy for you?
It was. Luckily, I have my best friend. She started homeschooling her oldest, who is 11. So he was 4 when my daughter was born, and she started homeschooling him in first grade. And so she had already tapped into the secular homeschool community, and she had found a co-op that she had kind of been watching from the sidelines. She hadn't quite joined yet, but I had known about this community because of her. And so she joined, I think, like the fall before I did, and I joined in the spring before my daughter entered kindergarten, just to kind of see if it was the right fit for us. And that community right away, I mean, I feel like we found our home, like right from the bat. And our co-op, I mean, it's huge. At the time that we joined, I think there was like 75 families. At the end of last school year, we had 164 families.
Wow, more than double.
Yes. I mean, it just has grown. It's massive. And it serves children ages 5 to 18. And we do park days every Tuesday. We do class days every Thursday. And, things that I loved about it, it was secular. That was one of my big fears about going into homeschooling, is that, I really didn't want to, be part of a group that was exclusive, that didn't support LGBTQIA families, that didn't support BIPOC families. I wanted, to make sure that my daughter was, part of a group where other families had similar values as us, and there was diversity, and we found it. I mean, and we have a wait list, for the co-op, because there's so many people, because it has grown so much. I mean, COVID, has pushed a lot of people in that direction.
Skyrocketed since.
Yeah.
And are secular. This is a secular co-op. Now it seems almost unheard of, but I want to just back up for a second, because for those listening, not everyone might understand what we're talking about when we're using the word secular homeschooler. So I'd love to hear how you define it, because sometimes there's some tweaks. Mm-hmm. So how do you define a secular homeschooler?
Sure. To me, secular homeschooling is somebody who isn't focused on religion. That doesn't mean they don't have religious beliefs. But
there's the speak right there. So I think a lot of people believe that if you're a secular homeschooler, that means that you don't have any religious beliefs.
I mean, some people don't, right? And some people in our co-op do not, but that isn't the case. Basically, in our co-op, we accept people of all faiths, religions, backgrounds, whether that means you have faith or not. And that is totally okay. And it just means that faith is not part of our academic curriculum. It's not part of our co-op. It's not anything that we're pushing. Um, and so, yeah, that's what it means to us and in our family, and that's what it means in our co-op. And we have people of all different, again, all different faiths or no faiths in our co-op, and that's okay, right? It's okay to have people of different who have these different beliefs and who have these different perspectives, all mingling together and can find value in understanding other people's perspectives. So
That's how my own homeschool group is also.
awesome.
There's everything and anything, and we're come as you are, and I don't care what you believe or don't believe, as long as you don't care what I believe or don't believe.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful mix. And I think a lot of
Yes.
people don't believe that that's possible, that it has to be very firmly one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you brought that to light, because we do have people who have many different faiths in our group.
Yes.
And
Same.
yeah. So I love that you brought that up. Now,
Mhm.
have you, as a homeschooler, and you're early in your journey yet, have you ever attended a homeschool conference?
I have not. I actually I've looked into them. I'm in North Carolina, and there's a really big one that is coming up, and I've looked at going multiple times, and just have not felt comfortable with the message and the topics that are covered. And I just really feel like it's exactly what I'm trying to run from and separate myself from, because, they are highly, highly religious and really pushing values that go against what we believe as a family. So I have not attended one. I attended many conferences in my professional life, literacy conferences. That was my focus, but no, I have not attended a homeschool conference.
I have not either, other than I did meet Julie Bogart at one point. That was a slightly different thing, but most of the conferences out there are religious based. So yours is not, though. Yours
It
is
is
a
not.
secular conference. So
Yes.
what is the goal of your conference that you
So,
have coming up? And what day is it? It's coming
yes,
up soon, isn't it?
it is. We just hit like the 3 month mark. It's July 21st, at Haw River State Park, which is just outside of Greensboro, North Carolina. And really the goal was, we had, as I was talking to lots of people in my co-op and other secular homeschoolers, everybody is just like, we wish there was a secular conference, we wish there was something. And as a new homeschooler, somebody new on this journey, I was researching, looking for something like this. And there just wasn't anything out there. There's online conferences, but I wanted something in person. And so, one of the main goals for this conference is, one, to provide a resource for secular homeschoolers, and two, to really provide a space to build that community. And my hope is that we can connect people, and continue that connection year after year. Not just parents, but also their children, people to build friendships and relationships that don't necessarily, you don't even have to be from the same area, nowadays with people being able to connect virtually. But that is a huge goal of this, is to help build that secular community and support, to have offer a support system for secular families. So, the goal eventually is to have, some kind of like mentorship program set up where we can mentor people through setting up co-ops, or have veteran homeschoolers mentoring new people who are new to the game. But yeah, so those are really two things: just having a safe space for secular families, and to help build that community.
Now, you mentioned families. I noticed that when you mentioned that this is a secular conference, you said for families, not just for homeschool parents and caregivers. And one of the things I noticed straight away about your conference coming up is that it's for the kids also. In fact, there's an entire programming that's for kids. I saw bushcraft and
Yes.
nature crafts and hiking and playing outside and icy treats and shaved
Yes.
ice. So, why did you make the decision to have this be something? I know in a lot of conferences out there, especially non-homeschooling conferences, the goal is that the parent or is to get away from your kids and to go and relax and to leave them at home. But you've chosen the complete opposite. So I'd love to know what went into that decision, which I love, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. So, definitely if parents want to come and not bring their children and use it as a getaway, that they're welcome to. But, you know, being a homeschool family, I know that lots of people want their children around. They want to involve their children. If people are coming from out of town, we didn't want them to feel like they had to leave their children behind. There are many great things to see in Greensboro if you haven't been. So people, could make it a weekend. And so yeah, not only did we want parents to feel like they could bring their kids, but we also want to, again, build that community, not just with the parents, but with the children as well, and hope that they can make connections over time. And yes, we do have a whole day planned for of children's programming. We've partnered with the Piedmont Forest School, and they offer, if you're not familiar with forest schools, the Piedmont Forest School, they offer basically outdoor schooling where kids get to explore nature and they do lessons and things like that. And so they're coming out and they've created a program just for us for the day. And like you said, the kids are gonna be outdoors. They're gonna be doing bushcrafting. They're gonna be doing nature hikes. They're gonna get to make hot cocoa, and build that community themselves amongst the children, amongst the children who are gonna be there too. So we're really excited about that. The children's ticketing also includes, like you mentioned, shaved ice from Kona Ice, and it'll include lunch. And again, just that community building aspect of it. So, and they'll get to be out in nature. Again, we're at Haw River State Park, and it's a beautiful setting. That's another thing. We really tried to choose a place. We didn't want it to be at
No
the big
stuffy
hotel.
hotels.
Right. We didn't want it to be at a stuffy hotel. I feel like in our secular community, we have a lot of kind of eclectic people who want to be out in nature. And we found this space and it was just perfect. I could not, we actually found the space before I fully committed to moving forward with the conference. The space kind of sold me. I mean, it's just beautiful. And I feel like it really embodies what the experience we're trying to give people.
It is true. Homeschoolers tend to love the outdoors, but not just the outdoors like hiking, just everything about being outside.
Yes.
So I love that you've really turned this, instead of it being a conference, into an experience. So it's an entire experience. And another intentional decision that you made was, and we were joking about this before I hit record, was we are, gasp, trying to get homeschoolers to talk to one another. And I know that homeschoolers, well, there's a lot of introverts that aren't homeschoolers, but we do find, I think, a lot of introverts among homeschoolers. And it is hard to get out, even to a play date or a meetup as an introvert. But what I noticed in your programming is you're talking about, and I've heard you say, mentoring and just getting connected. And this theme continues to come up in what you're saying. Homeschoolers getting connected year after year. So you're hoping that this isn't just a one-time experience for them, but you're hoping, from what I'm hearing, to really connect these families with people that they can be on this journey with going forward.
Absolutely. Homeschooling, secular homeschooling in particular, it can feel isolating if you don't have a community. And I really believe in this path, and I really believe that the people who are on it are really making a difference in the world, in the future of for our children. Um, and I want to help support that. That's really important to me. It's something I'm super passionate about. As a matter of fact, I've been part of the co-op I'm part of for I joined in 2021, so 3 years now. And this past year I took on membership director, and that's been a huge part of just my personal kind of journey and contribution back to this co-op. Is that as membership director, I love connecting people. I love helping people, particularly the introverts, find their people within our community, because I see what a difference it makes. I see what a difference it makes for the kids. I see what a difference it makes for the parents to have that built-in support, on those days when you just feel like I can't do this. It's so hard. To have somebody to reach out to text, or to show up to park day and just be like, oh, I'm pulling my hair out, or this isn't working for me, to have somebody to turn to, like, that's just so important. Not just for the success of your homeschool, but for the mental health of these families, of the parents who are, out there on the front lines doing this work every day. So, and I just feel, for me, like that was such an important part of it for me too, was to have this community. And I just want that for other people. I want other people to feel that same sense of belonging and that same sense of support.
I think it's so beautiful that you're doing this, because when we think of homeschooling, we often think of the curriculum. We think of how the kids are doing, how they're going to do. And we often forget a major part of that, which is the adult.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that in particular this year, I've developed a group of people where we're showing up on Friday, not because we're having the best day, but because of the opposite. And we know that these people are going to lift us up. So I love the fact that you're thinking about this already, because it does make a huge difference to even just have the one person. I noticed that religious homeschoolers tend to form fairly large groups in general,
Mm-hmm.
and secular homeschoolers are just harder to find. You got to turn over a rock. This place, like behind the corner, we're all out there.
Yes.
Um, Even the extroverts seem to be hiding somewhere. So it's just really wonderful that you're providing a place for a meeting ground, a community
Yes.
building meeting ground.
Mm-hmm.
And even for the introverts out there, what I especially love is, as a homeschooler, I just fell victim to this today. I don't know if you've fallen victim to this. Our kids, because we're there, they're making connections. And then, hey, can I see so and so again that I met at the SHAPE conference? Can you exchange numbers?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like my daughter is a matchmaker.
Yes.
Mom, can you get her number? Can you go talk to her mom? Absolutely, that happens. Yes. And it's so good for the kids too. I mean, to have that community. That was one thing that was so important to me going into this, is that, I really wanted her to have community. And kind of as time has gone on, I've realized how much that, like you're saying, how much it's important for me to have that community too.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just really glad that you're just focusing on the whole homeschooling
Mm-hmm.
instead of just a facet of it.
Yes.
And I've noticed that in the presenters you've chosen also.
Mm-hmm.
Presenters you've chosen are not just talking about the newest math curriculum out there.
No.
You've very purposefully chosen a very wide variety to speak to the whole homeschooling experience. So I'd love to hear about some of the presenters you've chosen and why. And I'm going to just say that I am very, very, very fortunate that I was asked so that I'm going to have the opportunity. I unfortunately can't make it in person because it comes up against another commitment I already had. But um, what a lineup of beautiful talks that you're going to have, both coming in virtually and in person.
Yes. And we're so grateful to have you. And we're so excited about your workshop. I love that it's super hands on and really showing, the adults how they can, I think sometimes adults forget that they can also be creative and have fun and make art. And I love that's, a huge part, a huge aspect of what you're bringing to the table.
The mental health bit of drawing is what I'm hoping to. I know
Yeah.
when I look at kids versus adults, if they all do the project, you can always spot the adult work. Even if the child is equally as skilled as the parent always follows exactly what the instructions are. The child will go off road and add things, but the adult very rarely does.
Yes. We've been, we stick to the drawing in the lines and following the rules. So
Yes.
much more. Yes. Yeah.
So who are the other presenters that I'm having the absolute honor of presenting alongside?
Yes. Well, so we have a long list, so feel free to check out the website, shapeconference.com
Yes,
if you want
check
to
the show notes. We're going to
uh,
have that in there. So make sure you check this out.
Yes. So we're very excited. We have two keynote speakers. We have Blair Lee from C, and she's going to be our opening keynote speaker. We have Julie Bogart. She's coming in live stream. She's our closing keynote speaker. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Erica Meyer, and she's going to be talking about socialization and finding a group and starting your own group. We have Megan Tauber, and she has lots of experience with Outschool, and she's going to be talking about translating your unique homeschooling experience into the language of transcripts. So if that's something, that's another piece we're trying to really make sure that wherever you're at in your homeschool journey, that there's going to be something for you. So whether you're new to homeschooling or, you're transitioning from that kind of elementary to middle or middle to high, or you have high schoolers that are transitioning into thinking about college or things like that, we're trying to make sure that we are kind of have a variety and that will speak to wherever you're at on this.
Transcripts are great because even if you are just beginning, you're thinking about it and you're worried about it. And so often people hit that middle school level and they send kids to school. Now, there's lots of different reasons why people send their kids, but a lot of homeschoolers will send them because they feel like they're not capable anymore.
Right.
So I'm glad that you're hitting upon some of these questions that people are going to have earlier and demystifying them.
Yes. And actually, we don't have this up on the website yet, but we're also going to have a panel of parents who who are going to talk about their homeschooling journey, who are later on in their homeschool years and how they've kind of navigated homeschooling over the course of time. We have Vivian Myers, and she's going to be talking about how to teach authentic history, which the description of her presentation, it just sounds so exciting. We have Neely Boyd, who she is not a homeschooler, but she's somebody who I found looking in as I was looking for resources on math and how to teach math, because that is not my area that I feel comfortable with. She's actually a math coach in the public school realm, but she has a program called Math Companions, and it has just totally changed the way I think about math. And I absolutely adore her. We have Amy Bodkin, and she's going to be talking about special needs, and then also thinking about neurodivergence, which I think is, there's a lot of homeschool families who have children
And they choose it for that reason because
exactly
they're getting the support that they need in the public school.
Yep, absolutely. We have Sherry Keller, and she's going to be talking about project-based learning, which I'm super excited about. I'm not quite there yet, but that's something I really want to explore is being able to do project-based learning. So we have, and again, we have you who, you're doing um, a hands-on workshop via live stream, which we're really excited about too. So we have a really cool lineup of people, all different types of topics that are going to be covered. And again, hopefully there's going to be something for everyone, no matter where you're at on your homeschool journey.
I love it. I love that you're really hitting so many different areas and that you've thought about the different, I mean, if we have an elementary homeschool conference, chances are very high that a lot of people have kids who are middle and high school too.
Yeah.
So there's not ever generally that one. I know I have a middle schooler this year, and that's that's been a little bit exciting. So some new things to think about.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking when you were saying, about feeling like you can't handle it, that people feel that they send their kids back to school because they can't handle it. I'm hoping that some of the presenters are people that can provide resources and make you see that, oh no, I can do this. There are things out there for me that I can outsource or bring in, to kind of help me navigate these areas that I might not feel as comfortable with.
And that goes for even if you have a kindergartner, because I
Yeah.
know it's the question that everyone will ask you. How are you going to handle calculus and physics?
Uh-huh.
Your kid's only 5 and you're still like, well, I'm just trying to, you know,
Yes,
oh my
absolutely.
gosh. So if someone didn't have a secular conference nearby and couldn't attend yours because of distance,
Mhm.
and they really are sitting here thinking the possibilities, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them for creating one?
Um, you know, so again, I've been in the co-op that I'm in for 3 years, and I just kept hearing, I was looking for one, and you talk to people and everybody's like, we want this, we want this. And I, I've never organized something like this before. Um, but I started thinking, if not me, who? If not now, when? And that's kind of been my motto going through all of this is just, you know, people are just going to keep talking until and nobody's organizing it.
The
So
magical homeschool fairy is going to descend and just
yeah,
create.
exactly, exactly. And so, my husband has organized some pretty large events in the fantasy football world, not in the homeschool world.
Has he been
And
supportive of you through this?
basically, our team is myself and my husband, and then a friend of mine from the co-op, who is in the co-op. Her role is the class director, so she is really good with scheduling, and she is much further on her homeschool journey than me. Which each of us has brought our own strengths, right? So, I couldn't have done it without the other two people on this team. My husband, yes, he's been super supportive. He's so excited that we found some. We've always tried to find something. We've always wanted to find something that we could both work on, and this is like it. It's like, okay, we're pulling, from my strengths and interests and his strengths and interests, and then we have my other friend Elena, who has just been amazing with thinking through the organization of it all. And she really knows curriculum really well. Like I said, I'm new, I'm still fairly new on this journey, and so being able to ask her about the different curriculums and things that she knows are secular, or people that she has felt like, okay, this would be a really good person to reach out to. She's been a great resource. But so yeah, if you are thinking of doing something like this, if we're not close enough for you to attend and all that's around you are highly religious, conferences, and that's not your thing, just go for it. Go for it. I'm happy to offer support to people. So if that's something that you're thinking about, like reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about, you know, kind of the path that we've taken and how we've organized this, because I personally am not feeling like that. I don't want to, I want to support people. I want other people to, to have these, I'm not thinking that this is an exclusionary, just our, little corner of the world kind of thing. Like, I would love for this, for other secular conferences to pop up in other places, because it's so important to have that community. So I support people 100%, they want to reach out, please feel free to.
Do you think that at some point you'll have like the Eastern side of the SHAPE conference and then another one? And
I
then
mean, that is the dream, right?
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be amazing. It'd be super cool if we could, city hop every year, pick a different city,
So you're thinking about this already then?
yes, absolutely. But that's like the dream.
But that's a good sign, everyone, because if
Yeah.
she's been organizing this and she's thinking of doing it again, then that's different than, than the opposite. Because what I was going to ask you is, has there been anything that was unexpectedly challenging about organizing an event of this size?
Um, I think for me, I'm in the thick of it, right? I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And that has been probably the most challenging, is just carving out the time to really focus on it. I'm doing a lot of things at 2 o'clock in the morning after my kids go to bed. Not that they're going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, but after they go to bed, I'm staying up, trying to work on it. That has been fairly challenging. But other than that, I feel like so many other things are just really falling into place. Once we found our venue, and kind of seeing that vision come, it's coming to life. People have been super supportive and excited. And as we're reaching out to, find presenters and vendors and sponsors, things like that, like, I feel like I mean, obviously you get turned down, right? And I was in academia, so I'm used to rejection. When you think about publishing and things like that, like I'm used to rejection, so I don't take it too hard. It just, again, that kind of motto of, we're not for everyone, and that's okay. But yeah, really the biggest thing has just been finding the time and being able to carve that out. So
In between everything else.
yes, in between everything else.
It's like we're all experts
Yeah.
as homeschoolers. So is this
Yeah.
the first year that the SHAPE conference is taking place?
It is. This is our first year, our inaugural year, and this year, we're just doing the one day, but we're hoping in the future that this will be like a weekend retreat type thing where people can come and stay for the weekend, and we'll have a full weekend, a weekend full of speakers and events and things like that. But it's funny because we started everything, planning everything just in January. And we're like, okay, we don't have a whole lot of time. So we didn't want to bite off more than we could chew this year. We said, let's start small. Let's do a one day and see how that goes. And next year we'll plan for more.
And you're also building the machine. So for any of you out there who's thinking about creating something like this, the first year is the hardest because you are having to ask yourself a lot of questions. The second year, when you do this again, Brooke, most of it will already be in place. You already know what worked, what didn't, what to tweak.
Yes.
But most of the machine of the whole idea of it is created. And it just
Absolutely
grows and changes. But yeah, that first year can be. But I know that so many people are so grateful for you actually, becoming the secular homeschool conference fairy and making it happen, because you're right. If not you, who? I know that there's a lot of people out there listening who feel like they're surrounded by, beautiful people, but they're looking for non-religious groups and conferences and resources. And it can feel really daunting.
Mhm.
So I'm really hoping that there's others who are listening to you right now. I mean, she started in January, everyone. I mean, and is pulling this off so beautifully in 6 months.
Mhm.
So it's doable. And if you want it to happen and all of the lives that you're going to touch because you've made this happen is just incredible.
Thank you for
So
saying that. Thank you. I really hope that, I hope people find it useful and helpful. And I hope that we can leave a mark on people's hearts and say, and they can come back year after year. Um, but yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, if you're thinking about doing something like this, find a team, find people that will support you and that you can pull from their strengths. Like I said, I originally had the seed was planted back in August, and my friend Elena and we had gone out to Haw River, and we were like super gung ho about it. And then, fall started, the holidays hit, and um, her and I started talking about it again, like late December, early January, and we're like, let's just do this. Let's just do it. Like we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it work. And I have been wildly impressed with how it's all just, again, coming together and the amazing people we've gotten signed on board. So you can
don't
do
do
it.
it by yourself. That's
Don't do, yes,
a piece of advice, I think.
yes, absolutely. Because, one, I mean, it is a lot of work for one person, but two, there's so much value in having a team of people who you can ask bounce ideas off of, ask questions to, and pull on their knowledge and strength.
I love that. Now, we're going to be dropping all of the links for the SHAPE conference in the show notes. So please be sure to check that out because you're just going to love seeing what Brooke has put together. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add before we get to rapid fire?
Yes, actually, one big thing is that we are offering an exclusive discount for your listeners. So if anybody who's out there listening, if you want to purchase a ticket, go on out to our website and use the code Creative10, and you'll get $10 off your ticket. So that's something we created.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So that's really exciting. I hope some people take you up on that. Are you ready for rapid fire?
I'm ready.
Okay. Book or movie?
Oh, book.
Start at noon or done by noon?
Start at noon.
When it rains, your family.
When it rains, my family takes rain walks.
It's my favorite thing to do too.
It's
Favorite
wonderful.
coffee order?
Cinnamon dolce latte.
Nice. One thing you can't live without as a homeschooler.
Oof. My community.
Beautifully said. Paper planner or digital planner?
Paper.
When you're not reading, where can we find you? Because I know homeschoolers read a lot to their kids.
Probably at the park.
Favorite cartoon from childhood?
Oof. So many. I'll say Care Bears.
Favorite board or card game?
Um, I really love the $25,000 pyramid board game. And if I'm going card game, I'm going to say Pit.
I totally forgot about that game show.
It's one of my favorites.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have to ask this question because of who I am and what I do, but how do you feel about glitter?
Glitter. I'm okay with it. We're a glitter household. I mean, it stresses me out a little bit, but I'm not gonna deny my children glitter because of my fears.
Well, Brooke, I wanted to thank you for being here today. I'm really excited about seeing this conference come out in July. I'm thrilled that I get to be a part of it. And I just can't wait to see where you're going to go after.
Oh, thank you, Julie. It has been a pleasure to talk to you and to get to know you. And I am more than thrilled to have you joining us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, until next time. If you have kids that are running away from writing instead of toward it, chances are you're feeling a little bit frustrated. But that's because so many writing programs out there have kids writing things like, tell me about your bedroom, instead of things that kids actually want to write. So I'd like to introduce you to the Delicious Diner course. What is it? It's a writing course for kids. It gets them writing effortlessly. They're having fun. They're creating their own delicious diner by marketing, writing help wanted ads, writing recipes, menus, learning about floor plans, writing, grammar, typing, entrepreneurship, and it's all through using Canva. There's even the first section of the course where I'm going to teach kids how to use Canva and how to get started. And if you're not familiar with Canva, you might really like watching it too. Canva is a graphics design software. You can use it completely for free. There is a paid version. You do not need the paid version in order to have fun with this course. But as an introductory offer, we are offering it for $10 off instead of $29. You can grab it for $19. It's a one-time purchase. It's for the entire family. Check the link in the show notes for the link to learn more and sign up. And make sure to come hungry.